In the hustle and bustle of London streets, one moment would stand out, not because of flashing cameras or royal parades, but because of a simple act of kindness. Yes, Kate Middleton, the Princess of Wales, might have the world at her feet, but what she did on an ordinary day for a homeless man showed that her heart is bigger than her title. Let's rewind a little. The Duchess of Cambridge was on her way to a quiet meeting. Her schedule as packed as ever. You'd think being royalty means a life of luxury and ease, but Kate is no stranger to the grind. This was a typical workday for her. Meetings with charities, talking with staff, and focusing on initiatives close to her heart, like mental health awareness and homelessness. Now, Kate isn't the kind of person to shy away from the real world. Despite the crown and all that comes with it, she's known for rolling up her sleeves. Literally, it's part of what makes her so beloved by the people. On this particular day, she had packed herself a light lunch, a simple sandwich, and an apple. You'd think royalty would feast on extravagant dishes, but Kate is known for her down-to-earth choices. As her car stopped at a red light near one of London's busiest streets, she spotted something that most of us might overlook in our rush. A homeless man sitting on the curb. His clothes were tattered, his face weary, and his eyes spoke of hardships most of us could only imagine. He wasn't begging. He wasn't asking for help. He just sat there, lost in his own world, but Kate noticed him. Now, let's be real for a moment. In a city like London, where homelessness is a visible yet often ignored reality, it's easy to walk past someone in need. People justify it with thoughts like, "I don't have time," or "What difference can I make?" But Kate? She didn't hesitate. The car moved forward, but Kate leaned forward to her security detail and asked them to stop. The team, caught off guard but used to her spontaneous nature, complied. As she stepped out of the car, the street fell silent. Imagine this, a royal figure, dressed elegantly yet practically, walking toward a man most people would avoid. The man, whose name we later learned was Thomas, looked up in confusion. He probably didn't recognize her at first. After all, when you're struggling to survive, the last thing you expect is a princess walking up to you. Kate approached him with a warm smile and knelt to his level, her movements calm and genuine. "Hello," she said, her voice soft yet commanding. "How are you today?" Thomas stammered a bit. It's not every day someone asks how you're doing, let alone a princess. He mumbled something about being fine, though it was clear he wasn't. Kate noticed his hands trembling from the cold. Without hesitation, she took off her scarf, a beautiful, soft piece that probably cost more than Thomas had seen in weeks, and wrapped it around his shoulders. "It's chilly out here," she said, her tone almost maternal. This should help, but that wasn't all. Kate reached into her bag and pulled out her lunch. She handed it to him with a sincerity that could melt even the coldest heart. "I packed this for myself," she explained. "But I think you need it more than I do." Thomas hesitated, his pride battling his need. But Kate's eyes told him it was okay. He accepted the food with a quiet, "Thank you," his voice cracking with emotion. Now you'd think that's where the story ends. A simple act of kindness, a royal doing something extraordinary for an ordinary man. But no. What happened next is where things truly get heartwarming. Thomas, with Kate's encouragement, began sharing his story. He had been a construction worker, living a modest yet fulfilling life. But when an accident left him injured, he lost his job. Medical bills piled up, his savings dwindled, and eventually he found himself on the streets. It was a story of bad luck and a system that failed him. A story that was far too common. Kate listened intently, her eyes never leaving his. She didn't interrupt, didn't offer pity, just empathy. When he finished, she placed a hand on his and said, "You deserve a second chance, Thomas. We all do." Now, here's where it gets even more incredible. Kate didn't just walk away after that. She made a few calls right there on the street. Within minutes, her team had arranged for Thomas to be taken to a nearby shelter where he could get a hot meal, a warm bed, and a fresh start. But Kate wasn't done. Over the next few weeks, she personally followed up on Thomas's progress. She connected him with organizations that specialize in rehabilitation and job placement. She even helped him enroll in a skills program so he could get back on his feet. And she did all of this quietly, without seeking attention or applause. But word got out, as it always does. the shelter staff couldn't stop talking about how the Duchess of Cambridge had gone out of her way to help a man most people ignored. When the story hit the news, it wasn't just about Kate's act of kindness. It was about Thomas's transformation. Within months, Thomas had a stable job, a small apartment, and a newfound sense of purpose. He often spoke about how that one moment with Kate changed everything. "She didn't just give me food," he said in an interview. "She gave me hope. She made me believe I was worth something." And here's the thing, Kate didn't do this for recognition. In fact, when asked about it later, she downplayed her role. "I just did what anyone should do," she said. Kindness costs nothing, but it can mean everything to someone in need. But we all know it wasn't just kindness. It was leadership. It was compassion. It was a reminder that even the smallest acts can create ripples that change lives. Now think about this for a second. Kate Middleton didn't have to stop her car that day. She didn't have to give up her lunch or take off her scarf. She could have driven past Thomas like countless others did. But she didn't. She saw a man in need and decided to help, not as a princess, but as a human being. And maybe that's the lesson here. In a world that often feels cold and indifferent, kindness is a superpower we all have. You don't need a royal title or a big platform to make a difference. Sometimes it's as simple as sharing a meal, offering a smile, or taking the time to listen. What truly makes this story extraordinary is what Kate's small gesture sparked in Thomas. As she listened to his struggles, she began to reassure him that better days were possible, and for the first time in years, he felt genuinely seen. Inspired by her words, Thomas shared his dreams, long buried under layers of despair. Dreams of starting a small business, regaining his independence, and being part of society again. This interaction wasn't just about food, it was about hope, dignity, and compassion, all wrapped in Kate's simple, heartfelt kindness. As news of this encounter quietly spread, it had a domino effect. Locals in the area began to show more interest in supporting the homeless community, spurred by the Duchess's example. Shelters received increased donations, and several residents even volunteered to mentor those in need. Kate's action served as a reminder that compassion could inspire change far beyond the moment it was given. So, the next time you see someone in need, remember Kate Middleton and Thomas. Remember that one small act of kindness can change a life. Because in the end, it's not about who you are or what you have. It's about what you're willing to give. Let us know what you think about this story in the comments below.